69-year-old Ken Gardner knows all about the BYU-Utah rivalry.
I got into the rivalry big time.
Ken was an all-conference power forward at the University of Utah before playing several seasons in France. His final year at Utah was 1971, when the rivalry game determined the conference champions.
Here we were at home, we were favored, and BYU came in and beat us.
Nick Longshore also loved the rivalry, especially football.
Oh, intense.
Nick played on BYU's offensive line from 2004 to 2006.
He loved BYU football. It was his passion. He loved it.
But he really loved Caroline. After meeting at a singles ward in California, they were married in the Los Angeles Temple in 2010. What was the greatest thing about Nick?
Oh my gosh, you're gonna get me crying. He would do anything for anybody. That was my favorite thing about him, was that he just cared so much for other people.
One of those people,
hooray,
was Ken Gardner. Though the two never met, a Ute and a Cougar would come together in a most unexpected way. 5 years ago, Ken's heart was failing.
So for some reason, somebody said it's not this guy's time.
Ken didn't have much time, and 50 people were ahead of him on the heart transplant list. That was November 13th, 2013. That very same day, Nick and Caroline were in Idaho, marking the first anniversary of when their son Colton was stillborn. Just hours later, Nick was involved in an ATV accident.
We thought that Nick was gonna survive.
But the damage was extensive, and at age 32, Nick went into cardiac arrest. 1 week later, Caroline, who was 5 months pregnant with their second child, made the agonizing decision to remove life support.
Somebody came knocking on the door as they were taking him off life support and said, put everything back together. We have a recipient for Nick's heart.
That recipient? Ken Gardner. The former Ute was about to receive a king-sized BYU heart.
Just miraculous, it really is.
Miraculous because at 6'5", 280 pounds, Ken needed a big man's heart. Nick was 6'5", 280 pounds.
Dr. Reed hands Dr. Kane Nick's heart, and Dr. Kane does this. And there it goes.
The transplant was a success. 6 months later, Ken felt like a new man. Caroline was trying to move on. Then one Sunday, they both received a phone call. Nick's aunt heard about Ken's transplant and realized it was the same day Nick became an organ donor.
My Aunt Jill called and she said, hey, do you want to meet the guy who has Nick's heart?
My knees are shaking. I said, okay.
And she said, I know who it is, and he can be over here today if you want to meet him.
And it happened to be Mother's Day.
So later that evening, with a broken heart, Caroline heard her husband's heart beating once again.
Who are you? I'm kidding.
He said, do you hear that? And I said, I could actually hear it. And it was Nick's heart just pounding.
I feel this beat. Oh.
Yeah.
And Caroline says, that was just like I was hugging Nick.
Ken also hugged Hannah, the month-old baby girl Nick never met.
Give me 5.
Now 4.5 years old,
Give me a hug.
Hannah recently met Ken again, this time knowing exactly whose heart he had inside.
Whose heart is this?
Daddy in heaven.
Your daddy in heaven, it's his heart.
She says, I still talk to Daddy.
Oh, thank goodness.
And she's never, met him here, but she knows exactly who he is.
Today, Ken takes daily anti-rejection medication to keep his new young heart beating on.
1.
Thanks to Nick, Ken witnessed his 2 daughters marry and is awaiting the birth of his 12th grandchild.
I used to be a tough Utah guy. This BYU heart has made me a blubbering idiot. I cry it.
Caroline remarried 2 years ago. She and her husband, Peter Clark, have an 18-month-old daughter, Millie. But Caroline said Nick is never far away.
Let's see, how do you want Nick to be remembered?
He was my best friend. And he would have been an amazing dad. He would sacrifice anything. I think that's how I want him remembered.
No, this is the same day.
Ken will always remember and be grateful for Nick's sacrifice. In fact, this Thanksgiving marked the 5th anniversary, the day a cougar gave a Ute a second chance at life.
What a Thanksgiving. What reasons to give thanks.